Have you ever felt bored of the same old major scale? Let's say you know all your 7 positions of the major scale across the fretboard. We're talking 3-note per string, but you feel like you just are running up and down them, up and down, over and over again, and you're not actually able to get any variety out of these scales. I mean, what's even the purpose of playing these scales if we're just going to keep running them up and down? It's important to know different variations and variety to actually use a scale the way they are to be designed, which is not just to run them up and down, but to take certain notes from these scales and make up your own ideas. If this is you, this video is perfect because I'm going to show you a great exercise that'll help you expand your ideas on the fretboard with the major scale and learn a new arpeggio that might spark some interest in developing your own, and maybe you can even use this one in your own playing. If we haven't met, my name is Garrett Podgorski. I am a touring and session guitar player based here in Los Angeles, California, and I've been playing the guitar for the last 15 years and I've learned a lot of tips and tricks along the way from different sessions and gigs and even YouTube, learning how to develop my own style and way of playing that I want to pass on to you. This exercise that I'm going to show you is an idea that I developed on my own, actually while I was in New York for a gig, and I've been running it up and down throughout the entire 7 positions of the scale, and it's really helped develop my playing and expand my vocabulary into new ideas. So without further ado, let's get into it, but make sure you subscribe and hit that like button before we get started, and let's get into it. So go ahead and grab your guitar. For this lesson, we're going to be talking about the G major scale. So we're going to be talking about the 3-note per string scale. The 3-note per string scale is simply the major scale, but doing 3 notes per string. All right, simple enough. So in our G major position right here, we're going to do. All right, then we're going to finish it off. Okay, so we have our 2-octave G major scale, 3-note per string, and then I like to also just finish it on the guitar with, all right, just so we have all the notes that we can possibly capture. So our Ionian position is that first one. Okay, and it's important to know all 7 positions. So if you don't know your modes yet, this is a great time to probably pause the video and go ahead and learn all 7 positions of the major scale across the neck. So we have our Ionian, then our Dorian, right? Then we have Phrygian, right? Lydian, Mixolydian, right? Then we have our Aeolian, and our Locrian, and then back to our Ionian. Okay, so those are the 7 positions of the major scale that are essential to being known before actually getting into these exercises, because we're going to base this exercise off of that scale. So what I've done is created this arpeggio which uses 8 notes going down and 8 notes going up. It actually covers all 8 notes from the entire scale, so you're going to be playing all notes from the scale of the G major scale, and then all notes going back up. So the scale degrees are going to be 1, 3, 5, 7, then we're going to do 2, 4, 6, 8, okay? Every scale degree is covered. It's going to be in that order. Let's get into it. So to start, we're going to have our first finger on the 3rd fret of the E string. All right, these are going to all be notes from the G major scale. Then we're going to do a hammer-on with our 4th finger on to the 7th fret of the E string, okay, which is our 3rd scale degree. And then 2nd finger onto the 5th fret of the A string. Okay, so. And then our 1st finger is going to play the 4th fret of the D string. And hammer on to the 7th fret with your pinky. Okay, so. And then we're going to have our 2nd finger do the 5th fret of the G string. Okay, and then we're going to have our 1st finger do the 5th fret of the B string. Okay, and then we're going to have our pinky, 4th finger, hit the 8th fret of the B string. Right? And then we're going to have our 3rd finger hit the 7th fret of the high E string. So. Notice where I'm doing slurs and where I'm not. I'm not plucking every single note, right? I'm doing slurs and I'm using the sweep picking technique, so all of the strokes are going down with the right hand. So please take note of that. So again, slow, going down. Okay. We'll talk about how to do this with the metronome later because this is a great exercise to practice with the metronome. Now you're going to do the exact same thing going in the reverse to go back up. So it's all the same notes, nothing changes, but instead of doing hammer-ons, we're going to do pull-offs now. So. Exact same thing, but doing pull-offs. So slow, going up and down. So that is the entire kind of premise of this study, is that we're going to be doing that exact same shape, but moving it up to the different scale positions, right? So that was Ionian. So now if we take that same exact concept, we'll do it in Dorian, okay? So the same exact scale degrees, but we're going to move them up, right? So one number. So if this is 1, right? 3, 5, 7. Now it's going to be 2, 4, 6, 8, right? Same idea, just moving it up. So Dorian slow would be like this. Okay, exact same idea, same fingers. We're just kind of moving them around according to that scale position, right? Which is a little different, right? So A, C, E, G, then B, then D. Then we have our F sharp, then A, then C, and back down. Okay, now we're going to do the exact same thing going up to the Phrygian position. So starting on the B. Right? All notes from the major scale, same idea, we're just moving it around according to that shape. Next we have Lydian. Okay, then we have Mixolydian. Next, we have our natural minor scale, which is the Aeolian. All right, and then we have our Locrian finally, everyone's favorite mode. One of my favorites. I think it sounds so cool. And then we're back to our G major. So this is a great exercise to practice with a metronome. I cannot express how much it is important to practice with a metronome when playing guitar in general. It's easy just to want to take things quick and take it way too fast, but when it comes to playing accurately and in time, it's important to know where the beats are and be able to stay in that pocket consistently no matter how slow. So when starting with this, I would obviously learn the exercise, but then get out a metronome and practice at 60 BPM. I think 60 is a very good number to always practice with, especially for starting. And then doing it at eighth notes, okay? So we're gonna be doing 2 notes for every beat of 60 BPM. Back down. All right, what you can do is when you start getting the hang of all the positions, you can consistently move them up as you play the study, and then it can just be one whole thing and then you can go back down. So if we're gonna do 60 again. To the next mode, Dorian. Right to Phrygian, etc. So that's a really good way to start practicing putting them all together using a metronome and continuing the exercise throughout. So as you continue to do this, it'll obviously get faster, and I like to keep bumping up the metronome, but make sure to do, I would say 2 to 3 BPM at a time bumps. So once you get it perfectly, and you can do it a few times in a row. My preferred time would be 7 times in a row perfectly, but obviously that can be difficult. But if you can do that, then move it up, I'd say 2 to 3 BPMs and do that exact same thing again. It should be a tedious exercise that takes time and hard work, but that is the art of playing the guitar. So let's say you're at 80 BPM now, you've done the work and you've gotten up to a point where you're ready to start at 80 BPM. It's important to switch up the variation, right? We shouldn't just do it the exact same time every way, because that's not as musical. We want to make sure it's musical so we can take this idea and move it around the entire fretboard in improvisation and in other contexts, right? So in this case, we have 80 BPM. Let's go ahead and try to do going down one scale position, then up the next. So it'd be down Ionian, then up Dorian, then down Phrygian, right? Then up Lydian. So etc. Right? So that was the variation that I just described. So as you continue to do this, keep messing around with different variations, create ones that I haven't even thought of, and continue to develop them so you can have new musical ideas every time. This should get to a point though where it's a little quicker. I like to kind of play this around probably 130 BPM, but it can be really fun just to warm up with in the morning. I love this exercise so much because not only does it develop the left hand, but it also develops the right hand with your sweep picking, right? We're simply hammer on, then hit the next string, then hammer on, hit the next string. And it can be a really good way to develop that right hand too and learning how to sweep pick better. Keep in mind with the going up, right? We're gonna be doing up strokes the entire time, going down, down strokes the entire time. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Thank you so much for sticking around. Make sure to comment if you have any questions and let me know what you guys want to see in future videos. I'm happy to discuss topics that variety from electric guitar, improvisation, to classical guitar repertoire. So I am really well versed in that sense and would love to help y'all out. So keep practicing, make sure to be dedicated, work hard, and keep up the hard work. So I will see you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, and I will see you next time.